Yo, it's Juggy. Welcome back to a general daily update. It's day 11. I thought I just might. Here. Okay, so number one, I already made some shorts about it. I'm just excited today. I finally got through with getting my sleep schedule done. Not sleep schedule done. Last night, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to bed straight this time. But then a friend called me and they're like, hey, real quick, you want to play something? And I was like, fine, which is obviously fine. I should have to, stretch my schedule because I don't want to, cut people off because this challenge is it's not about cutting people off so I can make sacrifices. I know that I can make wiggle room because unfortunately I don't do enough. At least I don't think I do enough to be able to, do whatever. Main point is, it was fine. I'm just saying whatever, but I also am excited because this morning I woke up at exactly 5. And it's funny because most mornings I go, oh, the reason why I don't wake up is because it's too cold in the morning. And oh yeah, I have to angle myself from being asleep to being upright and. But this morning was interesting. I'm gonna guess it's because I had the adrenaline of just you need to get up. That was kind of the mindset in there. But I thought I might as well make a little bit of video of advice. I tried making it short because I've been limiting how much time I put into the shorts so that I can put more points into there and then just let those be shorts because shorts get a lot more traction. But anyway, this video is advice because I've been doing a lot of stuff with my mental health. And I just thought I might share stuff because I started to kind of just see a really good way of doing things and I thought I might share it. So, real quick. I have had really bad mental health in the past. I still kind of every now and then struggle with it, but it's the way I've interpreted it. And also, I would also say real quick as well, I am I'm a man, and statistically, men don't really get therapy. I do. I just have been having trouble with doing insurance cards and scheduling. I'm not against therapy, so if any of you need to go to therapy, absolutely do it. You get amazing information. Then again, that also depends on the therapist. There's always differences. And second, if you are going through mental health, what I'm about to say is more or less if you're about to kind of get out of it and move forward. Otherwise, if you're in a really bad mental strut, please process it safely. Don't do anything rash. And I say this because I myself was in a place where I was about to end my life. I was very close to it. I was thinking that there was because I was getting annoyed by certain emotional and connection needs that I had that I just wasn't getting. But I worked through it and I've been so far able to see more positives and it's been wonderful. It has been an interesting journey. But I would just say if you're having any mental health issues, please go through talk to people if you can. And funnily enough, well, actually, no, that's actually that's all I can really say. But it's just well, actually, no, I was gonna say because I've struggled with thinking that people just don't understand where I'm coming from, which I still don't think they necessarily do. But at that point, it's more of a thing of how I chose to go through it and internalize it. Um, but I thought I might just make a video just because. Anyway, that's the whole preamble. Take care of yourself. Go to therapy if you can. Don't do anything irrational. I would consider suicide irrational, by the way. That is absolutely irrational because it's funny. I was smoking one time and I scared myself out of doing anything because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to definitely do it tonight. And then I smoked and then I was begging myself not to do anything. It was wild. Anyway, but that was a while ago, and now I'm better. And obviously, this challenge is interesting. But anyway, that's a lot of preamble. I want to give the advice of recently. I have so I've started this challenge, right? And just the other day, well, actually, no, there's one day that I had a realization philosophically. Because when I was back in 2025, I had an issue with the fact of people need meaning and purpose. It felt kind of like a cage in a way because I was just they need it. Those are philosophical ideas. Why do we need philosophical ideas? And obviously, I still kind of struggle with those. Technically, at this point, I internalize it just to be like, okay, I'll use it as a tool. I'll figure out how I feel about it later, because I can't be wanting to just end things because it feels uncomfortable to just accept meaning and purpose. Because meaning and purpose obviously can do great things. And at the same time, my mental, like, at that, and then at the same time, what was I gonna say? I had a brain fart. So I was talking about, fuck, I forgot what I was saying. But let me just quickly think about it for a second. Oh, yes. So, I came across a philosophical thought that was very interesting. Something that we humans can do, which serves everything, but is good, is the act of appreciation. And this is important, only for one thing though. Since I have gone through, like, nearly wanting to end my life, I then had someone in my life pass away. I will not be specific on who, but I will say this person was was a very happy person in my life. And when I heard that they had been gone, it gave me some inspiration, because I realized, like, it was interesting at this time. I realized I missed them. And I realized that would be the same thing for me, because it's like, so this friend, this person, they were so positive. They're always, like, every day, it was always just like, how's everybody doing? Like, like it's always a happy day. There's always good stuff happening. It was a really nice environment. It was a really nice thing. And and for me, I was assuming that a lot of people just kind of accepted it as being like, oh, that's this person. But I realized, like, I miss that. I really do. And it kind of gave me some inspiration of just, like, I could be that person. I'm most likely that person. I'm a decently enthusiastic and joyful person as well. Now, obviously, this is going to be a lot of just backstory for a lot of what I'm saying, so just bear with me. I'll get to whatever advice I'm about to give. Everything I'm saying is very important, and I think it could help a lot of people. But they were very happy, and it just made me think about just, like, when I was feeling like I wanted to die, at some point, I kind of changed perspective and went, well, you know what? If you want to die right now anyway, you might as well do everything that you can before you do die. Because at that point, what are you scared of? You've already, like, thought about ending it, and ending it is already a really, really big decision. And it's already a scary one. So you might as well just go for it and just accomplish everything you can. Just let go of every fear, because at that point, that becomes a superpower. Not in the way of, like, oh, I'll just end it if anything happens, because ending it also doesn't solve anything, because if you go for it, you learn and you grow. But you also, this is something that I learned from a book, and I'm very happy that I learned it. But it was a philosophical basing of just, like, you always try and see a positive. This does not mean that I'm saying like ignore negatives, because ignoring negatives is not a good thing. That just becomes you just being like ignorant, like blindly ignorant to just like anything that is negative, which is not the message I'm trying to send here. Because you should absolutely, like, if something sad happens, feel your emotions, go through it. Don't let it just be like, oh, well, at least this happened. I would say you should be able to internalize all situations, but you should also always be able to see, like, there is a positive, especially if it's like a small thing. Like, just the other day, I lost my keys. I'm going to be getting new ones. But the thing is like, I never panicked. I just went, okay, what's the worst Then again, I also live in a very safe area, so nothing could happen to me. So that's also where I have privilege in that situation. But I was just like, oh, okay. Thank goodness I am early, so I could talk to my landlord. Thank goodness I have a backpack with a charging bank and my phone on me, so I can always be tracked. And then if I, at very least case, I have my work suit, my backpack, and I can just go to work by going back to my own parents' place and doing whatever. I would always see that there was always a positive, and the biggest positive I saw was at least I learned my lesson, because I've never lost my keys before. So that was a big change. I was like, wow, that's cool. Now, let's get to more of the main point. I started to realize that appreciation is something that is the best thing that you can give. Like, one of the best things. It's one of the purest, just like, you can, like, a tree doesn't need it, but it always is positive. You can always be like, I appreciate you, tree. I appreciate this. You giving appreciation is already good energy. And then I wouldn't know if the pseudoscience goes around, like, that gets spread out to the tree itself and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, something that I learned a little while ago from a YouTuber named Alex Hormozy. He's a big entrepreneurial guy. He might technically be a guru, but hey, he gave some good advice that I have been using, like, recently. If I want to be the person that I want to be, I want to be the best that I can be. Not for other people, though, for myself. What is my standard for myself? And I want to be known as the guy who you, like... Well, actually, that's a good question. Maybe I'm already rethinking about what I think about myself. But I've always thought, just like, I want to be known as someone who's, like, such a pep in their step. Like, or not pep in their step, but it's like, I know who I want to be. And I always want people to... And I know, like, I can't control other people. I can control myself, my emotions, how I act. I can control what I say, and I can control what I do to influence how people feel. And I always want people to feel like it is a fantastic time to want to talk to me. It is always a fantastic time to have contact with me, especially at a time when I am, like, trying to anchor down on my goals and go straight forward and actually do things and be so specific. I want to make people feel like I value them to the highest degree. I want to be someone that I want for myself, because I might as well. And it makes me happy. It makes me happy to go, like, I want to thank people all the time. For example, if they call me, just be like, hey, thank you for calling me. Hopefully we can call soon. Hey, thank you for this. Thank you for that. Even if it's small. Because I've grown confidence in myself to just be like, yeah, no, it's okay to just really be appreciative. It is nice in the long run, and it makes you happy. Now, then again, I was already skipping past it. Alex Hormozy made a video, or there was a short around what he was saying about something, but one thing he said was, your brain always wants to solve problems, so don't focus on your life. Once you start focusing on the outers, and you start focusing on the innards, then you start to have less of a problem. And I found that to be really interesting. And that's why I say, like, oh, appreciation and stuff. Because, and then also, if you're struggling with things, also try simplifying. Sorry, getting burps. I drank my morning water this morning, and now I'm just like, getting the burps, and I'm also talking a lot, and like I should be doing a little bit more something this morning, but I just found this really important to say this morning because, like, I've had some interesting learning and realization opportunities just because I've been going through this challenge. I've been doing so much, and one of the biggest things that's been changing everything is, number one, my reading, my thinking, my schedule. Because obviously now my schedule is getting to the point where it's like I am oiling myself up like a machine, basically getting myself ready to go for anything. And so far it's been fascinating. Like, I wake up at the same time, I drink the glass of water, I take the morning shower, I do my thing, and I do my chores, and making every day less of a let's see what happens today and more of a today is a step towards something big changes your perspective entirely, because you start to see things as less of like day one, like this is a day. You start to think, okay, this day leads to the next day, and what happens the next day goes on to the next day, and you start to think about it in a progression. It's a fascinating thought process. Anyway, so when you start focusing on yourself, you start to focus on other people, because you start to simplify it for yourself. You go, oh, like for example, for me, I was just like, oh, life isn't insanely bad. You're having a lot of expectations, but nobody's mad. Nobody hates anything. You're in an apartment that you're fine in. You're having all these things, but it's like, once you simplify it for yourself, you have to go, okay, I can go forward. And then you can adopt appreciation. And then you're like, oh, this is actually quite nice. I haven't had anything to eat, so maybe I'm just kind of like, I'm thinking about how much I'm actually hungry. I'm trying to make sure I'm giving good advice, just because I'm not a person who usually, actually I do give a lot of advice to people, but these are things that are like very subjective, but I thought I might just share it, but take it with a grain of salt as well, because this is someone who is like not a professional. I'm just putting some thoughts out there for my own self, but also I live in a completely different environment and also mental state and everything else compared to other people. So, if you find something better, please do go for it. But I started to realize how it's just like, it's nice to just like, and it's also a case of whenever you give appreciation, you start to remember, like, that means that every day, like, this is the thing that made me feel amazing, is that means that every time that I make it the most positive experience that I can make it myself for someone when it comes to our interaction, and that's every day, then that means that it's like, I have done, like, you start to realize how fun life is when you make every day feel like it's going to be the last day, so you might as well go for it. And it's not even a case of just like, you only live once, or life is short, so do something. It's literally just a case of like, do something that makes your heart, like, your adrenaline go whoa, and then do something that makes you go ah, and like, it might be overdone, but it's like, think about for yourself. How would you feel if your friend every time was just like, came up to you and just was like, hey, I really appreciate your time, we should talk again, or like, I really enjoyed this time. Like, if you put out appreciation, you get appreciated, you're like, oh yeah, I really want to hang out with this person. That's kind of what I'm doing. I go immediately just like, hey, thank you so much for the time you gave. I hope I hope we'll talk again. I really enjoyed the time. Like, you just go for it. And it's like, it's small, but it's like, think about it. If you were to do that every time, and especially if this is a good friend of yours and you talk constantly, if you do that, then it compounds and you start to get to such a great place, both for yourself and for them, because now they've grown a relationship with you and you've grown a relationship with yourself. And I would also say, if you're also going through some things, I would weirdly say, do a 6-month challenge, but not in the way you think. Because the way I'm doing it is like, oh yeah, I'm trying to apply Elon Musk's logic and be as fast as possible just to problem solve. But what I'm saying is take 6 months to do a full deep dive on yourself, to understand who you are, what makes you happy, what makes you tick. And then you start to kind of think about how you want to orient your life in order to do that. And this means emotionally, physically, mentally, all of the above for yourself. I mean that. Because even for me, I'm like doing better exercise. I'm choosing to walk to work in the morning because I'm just like, well, I'm a person who wants to be able to be like proud of who I am. And to be honest, I want to be able to get eyes on my clothing because I wear fucking 1920s shit all the time and it looks fancy and people will look and it's a nice little like tidbit, but that's besides the point. Anyway, I thought I might just make a little video this morning just to say, if you can, try to simplify things for yourself because things are not always that bad. A lot of things can be in your head. Try your best to just go, like, what can I do? Not for other people, just what can I do that would be good for me and also good for other people? And then, like, how will it make things better? Obviously, this might be things that I'm just learning and everyone already knows, and then whatever. Then whatever, throw my advice out the window. I don't really care. I just thought this might be helpful. Anyway, but simplify things. Make goals out of things. And give appreciation to things. Slowly flip your mind to a mentally positive state. Sorry, I'm just thinking a little bit because I'm realizing that I'm worried that my advice becomes a little bit guru-y, and I don't want my advice to be like something that's like, oh, it won't work, because I don't want to give bad advice. I don't really give advice often, especially in this case. Well, actually, I do generally with people, but I just take this extremely with a grain of salt. I also don't edit these videos, so, you know, take everything with a disclaimer. I was putting all the disclaimers everywhere, just saying, hey, take it with a grain of salt. This is a stranger on the internet who does not know you. I do not know your situation. I do not know what you're going through. I can only imagine what possible pain you're going through. I hope it gets better. Please work on yourself. Please help yourself. And I say work on yourself. It could possibly sound negative. Just give yourself time and think and don't do anything irrational. I just thought that my 2 cents might be nice, but do not take it as professional advice in any way, shape, or form. I just hope it could possibly help. It's very fragmented. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's absolutely some good points. Anyway, so I might make a little video just to kind of share my thoughts. And I hope that things become better mentally for you. I just had some reflections over the last few days, and I thought I might reflect and give you some info. Anyway, I probably could have ended everything off a little bit better because I kind of went in 3 different directions the whole time. But hey, I appreciate your time, and I hope that you have a lovely day. And I appreciate you taking in anything here. And yeah, I hope you have a lovely